Good afternoon and a very warm welcome back to the channel. So if you tuned in last week, you'll have seen that I picked up my brand new Royal Enfield Bear 650. In this week's video, I'm going to tell you why I chose this bike over the opposition. Okay folks, just before I do that, I'm just going to show you quickly around the bike. I do appreciate last week at the dealership, I didn't show you a huge amount of the bike. I just kind of wanted to take that day for myself really, so show you around the bike in a little bit more detail now. So the first thing you'll notice is obviously I've got the Royal Enfield panniers on the bike, which are absolutely fantastic. What I'm going to do in a future video, guys, is break down all of the optional extras that I've chosen, what they are, how much they cost, whether I think they're worthwhile, and why I kind of chose them really. But there you see in a petrol green colourway, absolutely stunning. Now, I was really undecided in terms of which colour to go for. So to begin with, the 249 colourway, I absolutely hated it. That bike grew on me massively from the time of placing the order to collecting this bike, and I nearly called James up at Sycamore Royal Enfield over in Peterborough to change my colour option. I'm super glad I didn't, because I think this looks absolutely stunning. But the 249 has definitely grown on me. As you would have seen last week in the collection video, they've now got the honey badger colour in, as I call it. I do appreciate it's not called that, it's the wild honey, but I think honey badger sounds so much cooler. Anyway, I was really scared that I'd fall in love with that bike, because that wasn't there when I initially chose this one. But pleased to say I'm really happy with the choice. But yeah, plenty more videos to come on this particular bike. Right, let's get into why I actually chose this bike over the opposition. Okay folks, I've just shown you a little bit of a walk around of the bike, and that's the first reason I chose to buy it. I absolutely love the way this bike looks. I think all of the bikes on my shortlist looked absolutely fantastic, but I would say that this and the BSA Gold Star were just head and shoulders above the rest. So that's the first reason. Now for the rest of the reasons, let's hop on the bike, go for a ride, and we'll have a bit of a chat. The second thing that led me to buying this motorcycle over the competition is the way it sounds. I think this engine sounds absolutely fantastic. Let me start her up so you can have a bit of a listen. I think you'll agree the bike sounds absolutely fantastic. The tone of this bike is absolutely phenomenal. If I'm being super critical, it could be a little bit louder. There are aftermarket pipes you can get for this, but from what I've seen so far, there's nothing that really catches my eye, and I think the stock pipe looks the best. But in terms of tone, yeah, this one sounds great. I'm very much linked to the sound and the exhaust of this bike. One of the other reasons that I chose this particular bike over the competition is the engine. It's so smooth, and those of you that have been watching the channel for a while will know that I've stepped down from a Triumph Street Triple to to the Bear 650. So we're going from 103 brake horsepower to just 47. But the power of this bike is so important, and the big kind of difference between this bike and the Interceptor that I can't feel at the minute, admittedly, because I'm running it in, but it's the torque. This bike, off the top of my head, has 6 Nm more torque than the Royal Enfield Interceptor. And when you rev that bike out, especially on the test ride, you could really feel it. Like I say, I haven't managed to kind of exploit that extra torque just yet, because I'm still in the run-in period, but it really did make a massive difference to the way this bike feels in comparison. I absolutely loved the engine on the BSA Gold Star. and that bike sounded pretty damn good as well, to be honest. But for me, the reason that bike was dismissed really was the seating position. It was just a little bit too low, and yes, you could have altered the handlebars, you could have altered the seat, but I wanted a bike that was pretty much going to suit me straight out of the box. So unfortunately, that's the reason the BSA Gold Star went from the equation. It wasn't a cut and dry deal though. I test rode the Interceptor, the Bear and the Guerrilla on the same day, and I got back to the showroom afterwards and I still wasn't sure kind of which bike would suit me the best. So I took the Interceptor and the Bear for another quick spin, and after riding them on a very short second ride back to back, I knew the Bear was going to be for me, mainly due to the handling. It's such a, you know, as well as the power, in terms of the handling, it's a noticeable upgrade from the Interceptor, and yeah, that just swung it for me again, kind of stepping down from the Triumph Street Triple. I did think that I wanted something really sedate and lazy, and you know, the Interceptor and the BSA Gold Star again would have suited that bill perfectly. But after riding them back to back, I kind of figured that I wasn't ready to go all the way down into that super relaxed, lazy riding style just yet, and that's why the Bear fits the build perfectly for me. Now, if you saw my comparison video of all of the 5 bikes, the Royal Enfield Guerrilla came out well and truly on top, and I'd imagine quite a few of you probably thought I was going to go for that bike. Ergonomically suited me down to the ground, but there's a couple of reasons why I didn't go for it. I do like the way it looks, but I do feel as though this bike looks better than the Guerrilla. I really did enjoy the engine on that Guerrilla, but towards the top end it was a little bit vibey. I didn't really mention it in my review video, but you could definitely feel the vibes towards the top end. And you know, again, when I want a more kind of relaxed rider, that isn't something I'm really after in a bike right now. And probably the biggest deciding factor and the reason I didn't go for the Guerrilla was none of those things. It was the simple fact that I've already got 2 singles. I've got my little 125 project bike. I've also got a Royal Enfield Himalayan. So I did want a different, you know, a different engine configuration, and again, this is where the Bear comes in. It fits that build perfectly. And then the last bike on the list, that I'll be honest, never really got a look in, was the Triumph Speed 400. I loved the way that bike looked, and I really wanted to buy one, but it was just too revvy towards the top end for me. I was constantly chasing that power, and again, I want something a little bit lazier, a little bit more relaxing. So that's the reason why that wasn't the bike for me, which leaves us with the Bear. And I've got to say, I'm incredibly happy with the decision I made. Now, right at the very beginning of this series, I said it was going to take a very special bike to replace the Triumph Street Triple, and I feel as though that's just what I found here with the Royal Enfield Bear. Despite only having a couple of 100 miles on the clock, I absolutely love this bike and can't wait to get it through the running period, take it a little bit further afield. Talking to Triumph Street Triples, by the way, there's a chap on YouTube called MonkeyWoodGarage. Subscribed to him a couple of months ago now. He's a fairly new YouTuber. He's putting out some really good content, so I urge you to go and check him out. I'll pop a link down to his channel in the video description below. Hope you enjoyed this video, folks. On the next video, I'm either going to talk about the mods or running this bike in, so make sure you stay tuned for that. As always, guys, thank you all so very much for watching. Take care, ride safe. Until the next time, goodbye.